Welcome to the child care training. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being available. This is about you. This is your time. And I want to make sure that I am going through every step because I want you to be very successful when opening a child care center. I am just so excited that you have said yes to yourself in 2023 to open this child care center. So, who am I? I am Dr. Corticia Cowan, aka the Child Care Boss, BAWSE, not BOSS. And the reason why I say that is because we all just learned the word boss and we just run with it. And so I said, let me put a spin on it. A boss to me is someone that makes impact in their community, someone that learns every single day, that doesn't know every single thing, someone that is willing to have a tribe behind her, but is willing to teach that tribe to be able to be a leader, to be a tribe within themselves. I am also the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization that helps homeless teenage mothers and their babies. And so it is imperative for me to know childcare. I've been in the childcare industry now 23 years. I walked into the childcare space at the age of 19 years old, going on 20 with two children, left Lima, Ohio, moved to Columbus, Ohio, to actually be a teacher at a childcare center. And that's where the love of childcare started. So let's get started here. Please make sure that you're in a quiet place, a place where you could take notes and really take this time to learn for yourself. This is an industry that not only do you need to know everything for you, but it's a safety regulations. It's things that you need to know because you're about to take on other people's children and you want to make sure that you keep them safe at all times. We don't want any hiccups. So let's use this time to really truly learn what it is to start a successful childcare center. So today I'm just giving you an overview. If you would like more information, I am definitely available as a coach and as a consultant to help you on your childcare journey. This is just the overview. So today I will be showing you Ohio and Georgia, but I also know how to dissect any other state. I've helped Texas, I've helped ladies in California. So please don't hesitate to reach out or to even ask questions during this workshop if there's a state that you're in that I'm not covering. But what I'm telling you today works in all 50 states. I know that it works because I've even seen it happen in Cape Town, South Africa. So I know what I'm teaching you today, you will be able to apply to at least get to the first beginning stages of starting a child care center. Okay, so what we will go over, the types of child care centers and the requirements, the frequently asked questions, how to open a child care center or a home child care, the licensing process checklist, the rules of the licensing specialist, and the resources and links that I will have at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so getting started, the early child care program. Your resources to starting a child care center if you're in the state of Georgia would be Bright from the Start. That website, you can Google it and put in Bright from the Start or how I just clicked on it. You can go to decal.ga.gov and it will break down family child care and the child care center if you want to do an actual center. So it'll break down home and center base for you, that site. Okay, so later on I will show you the two sites for Ohio and the site for Ohio and the site for Georgia. Right now, the reason why I'm doing both of these states is because it's about the same in processing time. So to open a child care center, it takes about 60 days. Sometimes it'll take a little longer, depending on the licensing specialist, depending on zoning, fire. It depends on if you get everything done smoothly. Now, I've seen childcare centers take 126 days. I've seen childcare centers such as the one I opened in Lima, Ohio. It took less than 30 days. It just depends on the process, the state, the city, and just really how fast they're moving. And you know, since COVID, a lot of people are still working from home in this industry as far as the ones that are getting us licensed. So just be aware that it could be longer than 60 days. So for family child care centers, it says it takes about 45 days. Some, give or take, can be longer and some can be shorter. This is just the beginning fraction amount that they've said, 45 days. So if you're changing ownership or changing location, that can be 45 days. So example, changing ownership. You found a child care center that you love. the owner is either of age, she's ready to retire, he or she, or they just want to get out of the childcare business, and you are purchasing their business as is with everything, the teachers, the staff, every single thing, turnkey childcare center. That's a change of ownership. It can take up to 45 days. Say you're like me, who had a childcare center in downtown Columbus where I didn't think about parking when I opened it. I was just trying to get a center where I could help those that were more in the downtown community, but I was not thinking about parking. And so my teachers and myself, without either finding a closed parking garage, had to park at meters where we were paying from 6 a.m. to almost 7 o'clock p.m. And so we did a change of location. And that also takes about 45 days. You have to still close down. You have to move all your furniture. You have to put it at the new location. Hopefully it's a center, a location that was already a child care center. If not, then of course you have to go through some of the other regulations that I'll show at the in the middle of this slide. So again, that's just an example of change of ownership or change of location. If you have any questions at this part, please write your questions down, and then when we get to the Q&A, you can be able to get those questions answered, just so we can still get through this in a timely manner. Now, my first pet peeve, there is 4, and I say 4 lightly, but 4 for real, y'all. There's 4 major steps to opening a child care center. And my very first one is budgeting, funding, and business plan. You don't really know what you're getting into if you have not sat down and wrote out the plan. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. And I utilize this in the childcare industry. You must write it down, visualize it, and say, this is what I need. Then you break down, how much will it cost? I'm only trying to pay $1,500 in rent. Maybe I'm only trying to pay $2,000 in rent. This is what I'm trying to pay for my staffing. So this is the budget I have. And then if you did homework such as me, not only calling around to other childcare centers, but looking at the pricing that the state has right now per child, per person. So like for an infant in the state of Ohio, back in the day, it was $197 a kid in a center. So I would say I want 5 infants at $197. This is how much I'll make a week. So this is how much I need for one teacher, because the ratio is 1 to 5 in the state of Ohio. So that's how you come up with a great budget and business plan, is by writing it out and saying, this is my vision. I want to be 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I want to serve 2 shifts. This is what I want in the 2 shifts. In my business plan, I'm also saying I'm an LLC or N Corp, a nonprofit, whatever that is. My ownership, is it just me? Whoever it is, like, you really want to go in detail. I also help with business plans. I can help you, but again, that's on the consulting and coaching side. Some people just need to be coached through what they're going through, and then some people need a full consultant, someone that will help them from point A all the way down to the bottom of finishing it and opening their doors. So business plans, planning is my number 1 phase. That is budgeting, funding, and your business plan. So business plan, of course, is budgeting and funding inside there. Okay, so what are the types of child cares that we have? So we have what we call a type B. A type B is no more than 6 children operating out of your house. If you also have kids of your own and they're under the age of 5, in the state of Ohio, they count those in. I haven't completed any home child care providers in Georgia yet, but I was looking at their rules and regulations, and it definitely says the family child care center is for no more than caring for no more than 6. And they also do count your children as well under the age of 5 in a home-based child care center. A child care center is outside of your home, and of course that is 7 or more children. You can do 6 weeks to 12 years old. You can say, I want an all preschool daycare. I want an all school age daycare. It's so many different avenues that you can take when doing a child care center. But that's what they consider a child care center, is more than 7 children outside of your house in a brick and mortar. You can also do what they call a type A child care center. That's about 7 to 12 children. Or you can do a day camp, which is where you're targeting summer camp kids only, and you do that around the summer months. So Please save your questions if you would like to ask me anything based off of this part. Okay, fees. Now, in the state of Ohio, they make you pay your fee up front. It's $500. It was $500. I think it moved to $250 due to COVID, but we can look at that in more detail. But again, their fee is at the beginning. I love, 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 love Georgia because their fee is at the end. And how Georgia works is they have what they call a licensing application part A. So part A, you're going to do certain things. Finish that part. Once that part is approved, then you move on to part B. And part B is more intense. It's a little more information. It's more about your staffing and all of that. But I love how it breaks it down into two parts. And then you pay your fee at the end of your licensing paperwork. So once you're done and you got your licensing inspection and she comes out, then you have a fee and then you have to pay that fee yearly as well. So how to operate a childcare center, you have to make sure that you do the childcare orientation. So in both states, you have to log on to their professional website, which I'll show you in a minute, and you have to do what they call the childcare orientation. The childcare orientation you'll find in these sites where you put, it's like a professional development site, and you put all of your profile information in, your address, your high school, anything you have from first aid and CPR, all of that stuff in there, and then it takes you to what they call the training page inside the website. I also will do I'm doing a separate training on that one because a lot of people want to learn how to do their actual portfolio. So with that, you actually go in and set up your portfolio, and then you look for the childcare orientation. Even if you're home based, there's still a place in that professional development site that asks you to complete the childcare orientation. That is to show you how to do what I'm doing. Basically, if you did your childcare orientation, you probably wouldn't need this part of the training, but you would need the consulting or the coaching if you still didn't understand how to set up a class, how to do your curriculum, and all that other great stuff that comes along with childcare. But if you did your development page and you set up your profile, you would have went straight to the childcare orientation, and a lot of the stuff that I'm talking to you about right now, it will go in detail, in more detail, because it's like a 6-hour training, but you do it at your own pace, at home, in the convenience of your own home, and it's online. But you cannot even go past to open a childcare center without this orientation. You have to do your childcare orientation. And I can show you again where you can find it. So that's more about learning the rules and regulations. Once you get into that site, also print out. I may make like a binder. I have a binder here. Any of the paperwork that I need, like making sure that I understand what their portfolio staff checklist looks like, how they want the staff name, they want the 40-hour training. What's your experience? Do you have first aid and CPR? What's your ongoing training? Your professional learning plans, and when has all of that stuff been completed? It is literally what they do when they come out and see your staff files. So always print out as much paperwork as you can and make you a binder. Learn those child care rules. Learn the rules and regulations, guys. It will save you a lot of time. And again, if you don't want to shortcut yourself, get you a coach or a consultant, or take as many of these free classes as the professional site offers. Again, my goal is just to see you have a successful child care center. Okay, so now we're at the professional development registration. This is the two sites. So if you're in Georgia, go to the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning, and it will break down exactly where you click to get to the professional development site. It's also right here at the top. So you'll go to GAPPA.decal.ga.gov. That's for Georgia. But again, it's much easier if you just Google or find the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning. For Ohio, my Ohio people, right here at the top where it says Okra, you will go to OCC rra.org. And that is where you will create your professional profile to be able to go in there, create it, and then you'll find your orientation. And there's so many, guys, in both of these links, free trainings. So if you have to do 10 hours a year in ongoing training, or 16 or 18, whatever trainings you have to do, go into these websites and get those trainings done. They have so many free trainings. Now, the 40-hour director's training, it's on there, but both of them cost. I know in Georgia it's $40. I haven't did Ohio in so long, so I will have to go in there and look, but I know they do cost, but it's not an arm and a leg. It's just like $40-50, and you do your 40-hour director's training, and that's for those that want to be a director in their child care center. So again, save questions if you have more questions for this page, but this is where you get started. Do not jump past this and go get a building and start trying to open up a daycare center if you haven't even done this, because even if you are finding your own director to run the center for you, as the owner, you need to take the orientation. Please, guys, don't skip past this. Okay, the fun part. So if you're opening a child care center outside of your home, you need to do these 4 things, and you will not be able to skip past these 4 things, people. You have to do your zoning, which is going to the zoning department and saying, hey, this is the address. I want to know if I can have this as a child care center. And they will tell you. Building, same thing. You're going to the building to find out if it was already a child care center. If it wasn't, do I need an architect? Do I not need an architect? If you're not changing walls or changing structure, in most places, in cases, you will not need an architect. But if you're going to be changing all those things, then you definitely do. You need a fire inspection for them to come out and see it. Most fire inspections want you to actually be already set up. So that means have your building secured. Went in there and set up all your classrooms, where your office is going to be, what the bathrooms look like. Everything needs to be set up so that the fire inspectors can come out and do their job and make sure that you don't have like beds in the wrong place or cribs in the wrong place or cubbies or changing tables in the wrong area that will stop you from getting in or out the door in case of a fire. So you will have to pass these 4 things in order to even be licensed. Now, if you find an exempt building such as a church, or a school, you can then adopt their fire inspection, their occupancy inspection, their food safety inspection, because you have to do a food safety license as well. Are you going to be a level 1, level 2? Are you going to cook? Are you going to be a pack lunch center? Either way it go, you still need a commercial refrigerator so that you can house your milks and your foods for your children. If you're going to do infants, I suggest that you put a refrigerator. It doesn't have to be commercial. It could be one of the cube-sized refrigerators that you take to the colleges so that you can place it for breast milk and baby items that you have in your room as well. We know that we do not microwave milk, so please get you a warming bottle for your infant room so that you can warm up the bottles. Yes, you can have a microwave in the room because you can zap their food, but you should not be warming up baby bottles. So please, those are just some tips that I'm giving you right now that I would usually give someone that I'm coaching or consulting, but I want you to make sure that you are aware that those things are what you need. Again, breaking down the licensing rules. In Ohio, your rules start with JFS. You will find that at the Job and Family Services website. In Georgia, you will go to the site that I told you earlier, which is the Georgia Early Child and Learning Center. Make sure that you stick with Bright for the Start, because everything in Bright for the Start in Georgia helps you with child care. So again, you either go into Job and Family Services website if you're in Ohio, you're going to Bright for the Start if you're here in Georgia. These are also some different sites that I want you to remember. You have to be able to log on to these 2 different sites to be able to start your portfolios, and then also breaking down the licensing rules, taking the licensing orientation, taking time to print out all of the licensing rules to make sure that you know them, and then breaking down the rules and regulations of the child care industry. This one is licensing process checklist. You need to know the administrator qualifications. So if you're not going to be the director, the owner and the director, then you need to understand what the director's qualifications are. What are the playground requirements? What are you supposed to have on the playground? 1.5-inch mulch, whatever it is in your state, what they say, they are very, very strict on the playground. Your requirements for equipment, the type of baby beds you're going to get, the type of cots that you're going to have, the size cubbies you're going to have. Are you going to have a changing table? In the state of Georgia, you have to have a bathroom in every class. In Ohio, you don't, but you have to show where your changing table is, and it has to be close to a sink. Your staff files are going to be very, very, very important. A lot of child care centers that I go into, I do mock inspections, and I come in and I talk to them. I take out my mock inspection form, which is the exact same one that your licensing specialist will use when they come through the building. I go through and I see, is it exactly what they look for? Okay, if your crib has cuts in the changing table pad, you know you need to replace that. It's so many things that go along with the requirements. What are your required postings that you need to have in every class or at the front door when you first walk in the building? What should be in that posting? What should be in the classroom posting? What should be on the parent posting board? Those type of things. And then your initial pre-licensing on-site inspection. I can come out after you're completely set up. You can say, hey, I don't need you for everything, but I would love to hire you to do a mock inspection. So I will come out and do what they call a pre-licensing on-site inspection checklist to make sure you are ready for licensing. And I can do that. That can be a separate fee if you don't want the full consultation. But again, these are your important licensing process checklist. This is the most important parts of getting your child care center open outside of those 4 things we talked about earlier, which was zoning, fire, building, and health. And then this is our frequent asked question page. I will stay after and allow you guys to ask me some questions, but just more information on the center director. Can they also be the administrator? Yes, they can, but you just have to have the qualifications. You can learn if you have the qualifications by getting started with your portfolio. Your portfolio will give you certain levels, and it will tell you what level you are on to let you know if you can actually be the admin and the director and the owner of the center. You can always be the owner, but you may have to hire a director that has the qualifications while you work on getting yours, and then you can move them down as the assistant director, or you can always have just 2 directors. I know I had myself and my mom who oversaw my center just in case I couldn't be there, because of course I had my nonprofit for homeless teen moms, so I was in and out, but I made sure I did the qualified hours that you have to do as the director. So I want to thank you so much for this class. What is success to me? Success means what you're doing right now. You're getting started. You're understanding the information. You're learning from the beginning to the end what it is that you should do. But understanding that you don't have I can't, I won't, and I don't have, because you do. You can, you will, and you do have support. So make sure you understand that you can be very, very successful in this childcare industry. But you have to understand that this is not a fly-by-night business. You have to get in here. You have to learn the policies and procedures. You have to learn the rules and regulations. You have to know how to set up your classrooms, how to conduct on a day-to-day basis. Even if you're the owner, you should be learning everything that comes with being a childcare owner, because there's a lot at stake. If you mess up, you can have a death in your child care center. You can have staff working that are not qualified. I always say staff is something, but a team is more. So I don't want to just hire staff. I want a team. I want people who love my mission and my vision, and they live and sleep and breathe childcare just like I do. I want people who don't just look at this for a paycheck, but they see that it is actually helping children and breaking the generational cycle of not having enough in the childcare industry or in early childcare or even in education, helping our school agers be successful in school by having a tutoring program on site. It is so much that you can have in this childcare industry. You don't have to stop with just being a place that house kids for parents to go to work or go to school. Become an educational institute, guys. Become a safe haven. Become a refuge for these moms to be able to have someone to talk to and to relate to when they're having problems. Be a resource hub for your staff. Be a resource hub for the parents. Be a resource hub for the community. Making sure that you are not just opening this childcare center for the money, but you're opening this childcare center to make a change in your community, to impact the lives of babies and little kids. That's what this is all about. And so I thank you for joining me and being a part of this training today. Like I said, if there's anything that you want to ask me, I'm staying after a little bit to answer those questions. But you are and you can be a successful child care owner and a successful center in your community. Absolutely can. Here's the other resources. I tell everyone that's in the childcare industry, you want to be a part of the National Association, and their website is NAEY dot N no, it's NAEYC.org. And they are nationally known in the childcare industry. And so you want to get to know NASA. You want to get to know what they have and what they offer in the childcare world. And just start being more active in the childcare community, being involved with other childcare owners, coming up with some strategic things to help one another. I know for me, myself, and it was like 3 other childcare centers, we piggyback ideas off each other. If I was full, I would call her and say, hey, I had an infant that just called. I don't have any space. Do you have space? Vice versa. And it works for me, especially the last 5 years before COVID hit. Being connected to other childcare centers, it's not competition. It's literally being able to have a database of resources for parents. When you can't provide it, then you have someone that can. I don't see other childcare owners as competition. I actually see them as collaboration and how we can work together. So again, for coming today. If you have any other questions, stay after and